Warning, this podcast was produced by two men who still think that swearing is both big and clever. As a result, it contains quite a lot of it. Therefore, this podcast is not suitable for children, unless they're really fucking cool children. Yes, people, it's Dave Fensom here with another episode of Pop Collaborate and Listen. I am insanely tired as I'm speaking to you guys. I've just had a 6.5 hour journey on the way back from Manchester. It was a bit planes, trains and automobiles. Got as far as Victoria. All the trains were knackered. Got back. My wife, God bless her, came and picked me up, and then all the roads were closed and it's taken us an extra hour and a half to get back from there. I am physically exhausted. In the midst of the Brighton Fringe at the moment. I think I've done 19 or 20 different open spots and shows so far. Just done the second show of my run of ADH Dave. The show is coming on nicely. Had another sold out room. Thank you so much for everyone that came out and sold me out. That's insane. I don't know where you people are coming from, but I like it. Also been running On The Edge Comedy. Had some nice full rooms for that over the last couple of weekends. If you're in Brighton at the weekend at all, Saturdays I'm running On The Edge at 12:45, Sundays 12:45 and 7:45. And apart from that, I'm also running ADH Dave at 8:15 at the Carolina Brunswick on Sunday nights. Just 2 more of those to go. If you can come down and check it out, I would very much appreciate it. Anyway, guys, it is insanely late. Krista is waiting for me to finish recording this. So this week we're talking about our favourite albums. It's all covered in the podcast of 1990, that is, of course. And please get in contact, let us know what you're thinking. I had loads of positive feedback about the Madonna episode. A shout out to friend of the show, Cy Sharp, who said it was his favourite one so far. And yeah, hope you enjoy this one too, guys. We had a lot of fun making it. Catch you later. Welcome to Pop Collaborate and Listen. My name is Dave Fensom.
I'm Krista Greer.
And we're here with a special edition of the podcast for you, just to round up 1990. Word of warning before we start with anything, both Krista and I are dying of colds because one of us had a cold and then we kissed passionately. And now we've both got it. So you might hear some sniffles, you might hear some coughs. You might also hear a dog doing some stuff in the background, as people frequently message us to tell us.
Yes, quite.
He's there. You alright, Waffles Dog? You got a cold?
Just wait until I kiss him passionately, mate.
Exactly. That's where it came from in the first place. like AIDS with that monkey.
Yep.
AIDS monkey. That's the way to start a podcast, isn't it? Nice. Anyway, so today we are going to be talking about our personal, very favourite albums of the year 1990.
Yeah.
So we've gone back through, and now the kind of criteria that we're working with is we don't have to have known the album in 1990, we just have to have got to know this album over the years, and we're looking at the albums that have stayed with us the most, got the most resonance, the ones that we think are the best ones for our personal journeys.
Yeah, exactly. We've done kind of the listening to stuff we hadn't heard before. Yeah. That's what the first year of this podcast has been listening to stuff we didn't know at the time, and aren't necessarily that fussed with some of them. This is now kind of our reward for it, and we're talking about our favourite shit.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So the idea is, you've pretty much got an idea of the stuff we don't like at this point. So yeah, here's an idea of some of the stuff that we do. This is not supposed to be definitive for anyone else other than ourselves. Now,
this is completely self-absorbed on our part.
Oh my God, this is us in a room going, let's tell people what things that we like.
Yeah. They want to know that. Yeah, we're important enough that people need to know.
I mean, honestly, if I was you, I'd just turn this shit off immediately. I mean, you will get to hear about loads of amazingly good records. Yeah. But I mean, was certainly from my list, but
yeah, fuck you.
Yeah, fuck you too. Anyway, so I think this is going to be a 2-part special. We're going to do numbers 10 till 6 on this one, and then we're going to do 5 to 1 in the next one. So we're going to hopefully with 2 episodes for your buck. And obviously there's no bucks involved because it's free. So even if you don't like it, fuck you, you entitled bastard.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, he's fucking millennials. As if there's anyone under the age of 40 listening to this.
Not a chance. Not a fucking chance.
Okay, so, there might be a little bit of crossover here. We've decided that if there is some crossover, we'll talk about it when the person who has got it latest.
Yeah, at its higher position in one of our lists.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay then. So, with that in mind, just because I've seen the lists, I'm going to go first. Yep. My number 10 pick.
Number 10.
Now, I've agonised over this one. There's a lot of things this could have been.
Right.
I thought for a long time it was going to be Strap It On by Helmet.
You do love that.
I do.
I mean, you love Helmet a lot.
You love Helmet. Yeah, no, I do. I love Helmet. Fucking great band. But in the end, I had to pick a record that... this is, out of all the records I've picked here, this is the one I know the least well, probably, as an entire piece of work. But
okay. That's why it's at number 10.
That's why it's at number 10. But it's Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, Good Son.
Okay. So, the questions are... Did you know this in 1990?
No. I didn't get to know this record until... probably 2005, 2006.
Okay.
I thought.
So you were aware of Nick Cave by that point, obviously, but you just hadn't visited this album.
Well, yeah, really. I mean, my wife Jenny has always loved Nick Cave, and over a few Christmases, ended up kind of giving her a lot of the records and CDs. Back when you used to give people CDs,
I know, and it was an actual treat.
I know. Can you remember?
Not just something that took up space.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Nuts. So now we've got a lot of coasters.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I think for me the main reason this is a great record of his, kind of storytelling, slow gothy ballads. But the reason this one has to be on here is just because of Weeping Song.
Go sun, go down to the water and see the women weeping there, and then go up into the mountain, and they are all weeping too.
Probably should have led up to that a bit better than that, shouldn't we? But yeah, we're gonna pick one song from this, put it on a playlist, have a listen to it, so you can check out the albums if you particularly want to. Mainly just so we've got the playlist so we can listen to it ourselves.
Well, yeah, it's going to be a banging playlist.
It's going to be superb. And so yeah, but like Weeping Song is just one of the most affecting, slow orchestral kind of.
Yeah.
For me, it's like kind of absolutely perfect Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds.
It's the archetypal Nick Cave.
Yeah, I mean it's one of a plethora of songs that I like. It's probably my favourite song of his from this early period of the career.
Okay.
It's like it's really
Was this album the first Bad Seeds album? Was it the first?
So it's about the 5th one.
Oh blimey! Right,
Yeah.
I didn't know there was that many before.
Yeah, you've got From Her to Eternity. You've got Kicking Against the Pricks. You've got Tender Prey. And you have got Your Funeral, My Trial, which is a fucking brilliant album title.
And of all those albums, obviously, you like you say, you came to Nick Cave later.
Yeah.
Was that one of the first ones you heard of his, or was it?
The thing is, right? I as you often do when you come across an artist later down the line, I came across a lot of his stuff through live experiences.
Okay,
first.
I see.
So, I saw him live and unpicked and went back and found the songs that I was looking for.
All right, okay.
So that's when I say this is the album I've got the least relationship with out of everyone I picked. That is why. But having gone through and listened to the album a few times for the sake of deciding which one, I think it's a really solid choice. Some other great songs on here as well.
Yeah.
Hammer Song is fucking. There's a lot of things called the Something Song on here.
Okay. The Hammer Song, presumably about MC Hammer and his takeover of 1990.
That's exactly what it's about.
Good.
It's about baggy trousers versus thin trousers.
That is an important subject to tackle.
Yeah, Australia versus Oakland.
Yes.
That's word we tend to pray.
Well, now I'm intrigued.
Yeah, this is just a brilliant record. It's
obviously it's not it being Nick Cave. It's not a happy record. It's not upbeat. It's not lots of fun, but there's a load of meaning in it. It's
absolutely. I mean, there's no black box covers on there or anything
none.
like that. No.
Not even one.
No, I mean, there's one cover where he covers them covering Fantasy.
Meta.
Oh yeah.
Right.
To be honest with you, there was a Nick Cave album out. It kind of had to go in the list. I think.
No, fair enough.
So yeah, that's my number 10. What's your number 10?
Well, my number 10, and again, I struggled with 10. I had a list of probably 14 or 15 variety of I fucking love these albums down to I really like these albums or I really like this album at the time. And so the 10th one I did sort of interplay a couple.
Yeah.
I almost went for They Might Be Giants Flood because it was one of the first albums I bought for myself on vinyl in 1990, and I loved it. I played it over and over and over.
Yeah, we've talked about it a little bit on here, haven't we?
You know, I know in that respect, it's not as good an album, and it's not as an affecting an album as what I've gone for in the end. I've gone for Pantera, Cowboys from Hell.
Ah, interestingly, I put that at number 9.
Okay, so all right, well we can do this then because basically that would be 9. Right, I didn't know this at all in 1990. I had no fucking clue who Pantera were in 1990. In fact, I actively disliked metal.
I didn't dislike metal. I was listening to Guns N' Roses, but I was more of a hard rock kind of guy. I didn't really.
And you knew Metallica at the time though as well, didn't you?
No, not.
Did you not?
No, I mean I got to know Metallica. We'll talk about Metallica next year, I think.
Yeah,
so it was like Metallica for me was the Freddie Mercury concert.
Oh, okay. So in terms of when I first heard Cowboys from Hell, it wasn't till years later. It was absolutely after I'd heard Vulgar Display and Far Beyond Driven. Yeah, it was after those, and I only got it because in like 97 or 98 it was whenever I started DJing more kind of metal nights. I was like, okay, I'm going to have to get a lot of other stuff, and I already had those 2 albums we just said, but I didn't have the first one. So then I went and got
this record. Yeah, oh my god. So yeah, I got into this earlier than you then in that case, and it'd have been 92 for me.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah, I mean 92 was the kind of the year that I got into all kinds of metal. I kind of came out of high school, went to sixth form, met loads of people that were into all kinds of different stuff, and you know, a load of my mates were big into their metal.
Yeah.
Went into Vulgar Display first, and then straight back into this record.
Oh, I see. Instantly, you wanted to hear the rest of the stuff that's put on.
Yeah, I mean, just from being out at kind of rock nights, hearing Cowboys from Hell,
sure,
and watching Headbangers Ball on MTV.
Okay, yeah,
presented by Vanessa Warwick. Back in the day.
Good times.
Yes, I mean, I love this record.
It still holds up in terms of some just brutal assault on your senses.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a perfect record. There is, listening back to it, there's a fair bit of filler on it. But we'll talk about tracks to pick as we go. But it starts off with the title track.
Yeah,
and you can't really. There's not many better riffs in metal.
Oh, you can't argue that at all. No, it's fucking brilliant.
And you can hear the guard changing a little bit because obviously we're coming out of metal at this point. It's very, very thrashy. Obviously, I mean, there's the trad stuff out there as well, but this is something that comes out and it's just got this groove to it.
Yeah, no, that's it. There's more of a loose-limbed swagger. It's not as weird men just headbanging.
I mean, swagger is exactly the word for that, and unfortunately, as a lot of people that we tend to do, he may have disgraced himself a bit here, a young Mr. Anselmo.
Yes.
Whatever his political beliefs are, it's difficult to think that they're probably anything that you agree with.
I can't imagine we'd have much to chat over.
No, and that is incredibly unfortunate. But there's none of that in this record.
No, and like you say, the swagger he comes out with, and his voice is still on this album is powerful as fuck.
Oh, Jesus Christ, it's so good.
Yeah.
It really is. And it's like, I don't want to sound like an apologist at all. And, if you're a racist, you're a piece of shit in my world, right? That's how that goes. But this record, the impact this record had on me and my life, and I think you can almost just feel the baton. There are moments in this where you can almost actually hear the baton passing over.
I've talked to people who slightly older than me and therefore were more into stuff like, let's say, Slayer, Anthrax in the late 80s.
Yeah.
And then Pantera came along.
Yeah.
And there was it's not a sea change. It's not like they were swept away, but there was an absolute shift towards whatever you would call that style. Yeah. And let's not call it groove metal like fucking Kerrang did or whatever.
Yeah, please, let's not.
But you could see that influence from then on.
Yeah, you absolutely should. And I stand by what I've said elsewhere on this podcast, in that actually I think an awful lot of the music that Pantera directly influenced, is absolute dog shit.
Yeah.
Without Pantera, there's no Five Finger Death Punch.
Yeah.
And as such, you can make a case for going back in a history.
You'll just get rid of them.
Get rid of them.
Yeah.
But you've got Dimebag's just super distinctive guitar style. You've got like the fucking super, super, super solid rhythm section.
Man.
I mean, it's just an unstoppable rhythm section.
Oh, that's your dream rhythm section right there,
without a doubt. And then Phil, So I mean, okay, this one for me was relatively difficult to pick tracks on. I know what I'd pick first, but I'll let you have first pick.
Well, yeah, my favourite is just Beyond the Shadow of a Doubt, Cowboys from Hell. Title track 1, straight in there.
Fair enough.
Gets me every time.
And I think that's probably what I would go for, but we're not going to allow ourselves to have the same track.
No.
So I'm going to go for Cemetery Gates.
Of course you are.
Cemetery Gates.
Of course you are.
Man.
Fucking stunning.
And that's, it's kind of almost like the death knell of the old Pantera style, because he's going for those kind of big, like Rob Halford high notes and points in it, and it is like, and it's got that kind of, it's kind of got a bit of a Sabbath to it. But it's just got those brutally heavy moments in it, and I remember seeing the video for this on Headbangers Ball.
Oh right!
Like, what the fuck is this? I love this.
I don't think I've ever seen the video for Cemetery Gates.
So I can't remember what the video looks like, but I remember seeing it.
Okay.
I remember the experience rather than
the actual details.
But yeah, so
okay, well, no, great. Two brilliant songs.
Okay, we'll stick them on the playlist. Okay.
Done. So that's my number 10.
Okay, so that's my number 9 as well. So what's your number 9?
So my number 9 is Depeche Mode's Violator.
Okay.
Which obviously we've done on this podcast, and we did because you're a big fan.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that you are going to have it.
I've got this significant.
You get it higher up list.
So
right, so we'll leave that until we come to it in your list.
Okay.
Okay. Cool.
So, number 8 then.
My number 8 is the Pixies, Bossa Nova.
Okay, great.
Right, and it was whenever I was looking through all the albums that came out this year, and I saw Bossa Nova. I think we chatted briefly about this whenever we went through it in one of the other podcasts. I wasn't particularly aware of this album at the time. I suspect I only really heard the Pixies for the first time in 1990 because mates of mine were into them, but they would have played me stuff from Surfer Rosa and Come On Pilgrim and a bit of Doolittle.
Yeah.
So I knew Debaser, I knew Gigantic, that sort of thing, right? So yeah, I knew those ones, but Bossa Nova came out that year and I didn't hear it.
Right.
But it is a fantastic album. I will give it. It's not my favourite Pixies album, but it is a brilliant album. It starts off. They even go more kind of surf rock than usual, and it starts off with an instrumental, that kind of really just twangy surf guitar, but then goes into track 2, goes into rock music as track 2, which is straight back into Black Francis screaming, really scratchy guitars, typical Pixies, and the rest of the album is up and down between those things, and it's solid as fuck.
Wicked. I mean, I don't know it well. I don't know the Pixies very well at all. I guess what I'm asking is, would you recommend that I listen to the rhythm of the gentle bossa nova?
Oh, Christ almighty. Oh no. Oh no. Oh. That's just happened.
Downtown.
You dickface.
Alright, so yeah, I mean, where would you put it in the pantheon?
I'd put it middle. I suspect my regard for Pixies albums goes down as they go on.
Yeah.
I think that the first couple of almost mini albums are stunning. I think they are what I want from Pixies. Doolittle is a classic. Again, it's full of big hits. It's where they perfected, let's say, the Pixies sound, whatever you want to say. But the rest of them, for me, was diminishing returns.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean that this album isn't in any way bad, because it is still a great album.
Okay.
I remember it was in fact it was summer '91. I went to stay with some friends of mine, the Bakewells, and my mate Niall Bakewell did me a tape of songs, and I've still got it. Includes a load from this album, but that was '91, so I probably didn't get into it until then. So,
okay, you're going to pick a track?
Yes. Because it was one of the first ones I heard from the album. It's not like one of the big singles. The singles off it were like Valuria and Dig for Fire, which are the ones you would probably hear in the indie clubs, and they were the ones definitely on those indie top 20 compilations. But the first one I heard, I think, off the album that was on this tape my mate did me was Is She Weird?
Is she wet? Is she white? Is she promised to the night? And her head has no room. Is she weird? Is she white? Is she promised to the night? And her head has no room. Is she weird? Is she white? Is she promised to the night? And her head has no room. And her head has no room.
And I think it is a brilliant song. It's sort of a mid-tempo. It's not a surfy one. It's not a real screamer. In between. And it's very typical of kind of, that's a bit strange, Mr. Pixies. Cool. So yeah, that's the one I'm going to stick on.
Awesome, man. I really like the song title. I look forward to hearing that.
That is a goodie. You'll like it. Yeah, I think it's one you'll like. It's not one. If someone said, what's the most typical Pixies song on that? It's not going to be that one. Okay. But I think it's a winner, mate.
Great. I mean, yeah. I mean, that's the thing with this list. Sometimes we're going to go with the obvious song, and sometimes we go. I've got a couple here, right?
Exactly. That's the one that got me into this album's sound. Awesome. So that's why it works for me.
Amazing.
What about you? What's your number 8, mate?
Number 8. Well, I'm. This is kind of the metal end of the list for me, I think.
Okay.
So I'm going with Seasons in the Abyss by Slayer.
My God. Right. Yeah. Fuck me. So, you are going hard at the start here.
So, obviously this is following up from Rain in Blood.
Yeah.
Which, is arguably the most perfect thrash record ever made. I mean, it's 30 minutes and there's not a minute of fat on that record.
No, it is. It's start to finish.
Yeah.
Non-stop brilliant.
And and Seasons in the Abyss is not that. Seasons in the Abyss is, I guess it's not a lot of people's favourite Slayer record.
Okay.
It kind of is mine though.
Is
I
it
think?
Yeah,
it's one of my favourites, and there's just a few bits and pieces on it that I really like. And I mean, I think that part of it as well is it's one of the first thrash records I really kind of had and got into a lot. I mean,
but at the time.
No, like again, 1992. I think it was my friend Chris Hunt had this record, and I listened to this quite a lot. It's just a really solid collection of songs that sound like Slayer.
Right. Well, this is still prime Slayer time, isn't it? They were still pumping out huge riffs,
without a doubt. This is Slayer are doing their final tour this year. We're going to be at the festival. We're going to be at Download when it happens, and I've got absolutely no interest in seeing it at all.
Well, I think it's a clash with either Pumpkins or Tool, and I'm not that fussed about that.
For fuck's sake, yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, if it was the original Slayer lineup and it was Smashing Pumpkins, even though I've never seen them versus the original Slayer lineup, I'd probably still go and see Slayer.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But. This is a great record. It's super solid, and it's got one of my favourite ever Slayer songs on it.
Alright, so I'm assuming this is the one you're going to put on the list. What is it?
I'm going with Dead Skin Mask.
Oh my God. Yes.
Let's hear how that starts, shall we? Oh yeah.
It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful.
Hang on, mate. Song about Ed Gein.
Oh yes. Well, they did love a dark subject matter, didn't they?
You arrived. You stay a while. I promise I won't keep you long.
Wicked.
I'll keep you forever! There we go.
Ah, class, man.
Dead Skin Mask, man. Yeah, Dead Skin Mask, War Ensemble, obviously, first track on here. Season in the Abyss itself, Expendable Leaf. Fucking brilliant record.
No, that is, and again, that's a solid. Was it like 12 tracks on there?
No, 10 tracks.
10 tracks, fuck.
10 tracks, 42 minutes. It's still a very, very, very tight record. It's not quite as on point as
Rain and Blood.
As Rain and Blood,
sure.
But fucking great. Skeletons of Society, Jesus Christ.
No, quality.
Brilliant.
Were you at that gig? I know our friend Harry and I went to a Slayer gig, and it's one where they did all of Rain and Blood as the encore.
And they had the Raining Blood.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
I don't think we were at the same one, but I saw that show.
Oh, okay, right.
I've got the signed picture up there.
Yeah. Yes, you do. But to do all of that 30-minute album as an encore, beautifully.
I mean,
beautifully
you know,
done.
and Kerry King nearly played some of the solos accurately as well. Oh, fucking hell. I mean, no, Slayer Live is it's almost like a jazz experimentation. And which key is Kerry going to be in?
Bless him. Bless Slayer.
Anyway, right, so that was my number 8. What's your number 7, Chris?
My number 7, okay. This is a slight cheat, but I don't think it's an actual cheat because it's Mudhoney's Super Fuzz Big Muff, then plus extras.
Big Muff.
Big Muff. Fucking brilliant. What a great title. I mean, obviously, I only found out a couple of years afterwards they are guitar pedals.
Yeah.
I didn't know that at the time. I just thought, what a brilliant title.
They've called it after a big fan.
Yeah, exactly. And so it is kind of a mini album. It was originally a 6-tracker, or maybe 7, but then they
It was
re-released...
a 6 what?
Tracker.
That's not what you just said. You went tracker.
Tracker.
It's like you're fucking from Bristol talking about
Trackers.
tractors, yeah.
But then it was re-released with some extra bits on there.
Okay.
So that's kind of where I knew it. And this is one of my favourites. It's absolutely brilliant. It's pure Mudhoney. This is like the best Mudhoney sound that they ever were.
Yeah.
If you know them from stuff like Touch Me I'm Sick, this is the Mudhoney you know.
Yeah.
And hearing this as a 15-year-old, because I did hear this at the time, one of the few on here that I did, I fell in love with it. It just got me so hard because it was so exciting. There was so much that I wanted to be part of this band.
Yeah.
One of the first bands that I wanted to try drums as well, because their drummer he's not technically amazing, but he's fucking brilliant, and he's fast and he's tight and all of those things. And listening to those songs, I was like, I want to be part of something that makes this noise. So good. And it's got this really hard guitar sound, but it's dirty as fuck. It's obviously it's put through whatever amount of pedals. Songs they're just shouting along, and to the choruses like "Touch Me I'm Sick," "Fuck Me I'm Sick." It's so cool. And when I was in a band when I was like 16, 17, just learning to play drums. Yeah. And we did one of the songs off this, and it was the most fun. It was the most fun.
Perfect. That's exactly what you want.
Yeah, and I remember whenever I started going to indie clubs, probably the next year, 91 or whatever, and Touch Me I'm Sick was played every single week. It was like, they played Touch Me I'm Sick, and then they played Dinosaur Jr.'s Freak Scene, and that sort of shit. They played Debaser. I would throw myself around like an absolute dickhead.
One of my favourite ever memories is To Touch Me I'm Sick. Yeah. Which I'm trying to remember, I think we were either in Mirage, Long Rest Its Soul in Luton, or possibly Edge, and Robin Bashuri was there. Our friend Robin. I doubt he's listened to this, but shout out Robin. Yeah. And literally he was pretty drunk, and there was a pit happening to this song, and I think he got kind of pushed across the pit, and literally as the hands made contact with the back of him, touched him, he was sick. Threw up everywhere.
That's a thing of beauty.
Yeah, absolutely. The pit did not continue after that.
But Mudhoney themselves would have been proud.
Yeah, exactly.
That they had inspired such a behaviour.
Yeah.
Beautifully done. I also remember that the song I'm going to put on, though, off this album is In and Out of Grace, which was the other one that would sometimes get played in clubs and that sort of, and is also the song that we covered in our band. And it starts off with the same sample that starts off Primal Scream's Loaded. Okay. Just what is it that you want to do? Yeah. We want to be free. And I remember in clubs, that sample would come on, and there'd be like two factions. Yeah. Like, which one's it going to be? Is it Primal Scream Loaded? Is it In and Out of Grace? And every time it was In and Out of Grace, which wasn't as often as Loaded, let's face it. Me and my mates just went fucking mental. Nice. It was great, yeah.
Jesus, take me to a higher place.
Nah, so that's what I'm sticking on the playlist because it is dirty and scummy and just infectious.
Nice.
So yeah, that's a good taster of this one for me.
Yeah. Also, how my penis is.
I don't think anyone's ever described your penis as a good taster.
Which is weird because it had the job as the wine critic from The Spectator for 6 months.
Okay, so that's my number 7. I'm very happy with that. I mean, that was one that probably, on a different day might have been a little bit higher.
Yeah.
But there you go. That's it, number 7.
Number 7 for me, I'm going to go with Repeater by Fugazi.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Right, nice.
Again, I mean, I wouldn't get into Fugazi for another couple of years
Sure.
in real terms.
Yeah.
But when I got into Fugazi, I really got into Fugazi. I mean, this is, Repeater it's not my favourite Fugazi album.
Mm-hmm. What would be?
That's a really difficult question.
I think
13 songs is great. I have a real soft spot for Steady Diet of Nothing.
Okay, yeah.
Which is no one's favourite Fugazi album.
But
I
something
love
does it for you.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
I really, really love Steady Diet of Nothing. Really love Instrument as well, which is obviously basically the instrumental version of End Hits.
Oh, I see, okay.
Really like, the thing with Fugazi is I just liked all of their output. Even what was the last record? The Argument.
You think so? Yeah.
Yeah, everything was good. Yeah, I mean, I dearly, dearly, dearly love Fugazi, and this is just a great example of it. It's full of kind of 1.5 minute, 2.5 minute, 3 minute. I'm not sure if there's anything on here that's over 4 minutes long. To be honest with you,
I'd be surprised.
Yeah.
Let's face it. They're one of those bands that like a bit of brevity.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's succinct, it's punky, it's kind of What I always liked about Fugazi is you always felt like there was a higher purpose. I always felt like I wasn't quite smart enough for Fugazi.
Okay, yeah.
Right.
I
was like, what are they talking about? I wanted to know. I always felt like they always knew something that I didn't, right?
Yeah, that's understandable because they did. They presented themselves as, not just having a bit of fun. They were a serious band.
Oh my God, though. I just, this is just a great record that if I'm feeling a bit kind of pissed off with the world, I can just stick this on and just kind of feel that the world is alright for 45 minutes or so, yeah.
It's a pretty full-on, not angry in the same way as Slayer is, for example, but it's a pretty fucking grumpy album, isn't it?
I mean...
It's not.
It's not
frivolous.
No, God, of course it's not. It's it's a
serious album.
Yeah, it's a hardcore record. They're all serious albums, but I mean, people accuse Fugazi of being po-faced.
Yeah,
and I get that. That's a fair enough criticism. They do take themselves incredibly seriously.
Yeah,
but
it's still fun.
I never really hear that I don't feel that in the music. I'm not above a bit of kind of slightly intellectual superiority in music.
Sure.
But I can help. I'm a fucking Tool fan.
Well, yeah, indeed. Right? They made a career of it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm doing an absolutely terrible job of explaining why I like this record. I'm well aware of it. But I love Fugazi because they're abrasive and mysterious and everything. Everything feels completely genuine and authentic about it. I never have any doubt that they mean even when I don't really know what they're saying. I know that they mean it.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh fuck, there's not a wasted lyric orbit in here. They know exactly what they're doing.
And you kind of with the stuff with the kind of the dual vocals. I just I love the voices.
Yeah.
As a drummer, Jesus.
Oh,
Christ.
yeah. My only issue with Fugazi, I'd say, is that over whatever X amount of albums they have, it starts to sound the same to me. I'm not a hardcore fan, and I mean that in a hardcore fan of Fugazi and a fan of hardcore. I'm not. That the sound doesn't do it for me because of the sound.
Yeah. Okay, I understand that. It's I think you tune your ear into it, and there's enough variation in
there absolutely is, because if you put together a 20-track best of Fugazi playlist, there's a lot of different stuff going on there, and there will be 20 different riffs and hooks that I can get my head around. But it's when I look at their output as a whole, I'm a bit scared of it because I think it's probably just going to sound the same after that.
See, I think if you if you went like both ends of the scale and you listened 13 songs and then listened to The Argument, for example, you're not going to go, oh, that's two totally different bands.
No.
But you're going to hear a big difference.
Yes, that's true.
They got a lot better at layering things up. The songs got more sophisticated. There was always more in it. I mean, hardcore at its most simple is, very, very, very simple. And that's not something you can level at. People call it post-hardcore. And it's just a band's a band, and it's still a rock band.
Fair enough.
Punk rock band, really.
No, fair enough. Okay, so that was your number 7.
6.
But what song?
Sorry, 7. No, it wasn't my number 7.
And what song are you going to put on the playlist, mate?
I'm either going to... What am I going to go with?
Are you between a couple?
Yeah, it's between Sieve Fisted Find and Greed. I'm going to go with Sieve Fisted Find.
Yep.
Yeah.
For any particular reason, or just because
Just because.
Bigger hook.
Because it's a fucking great song title.
That is true.
Yeah, no,
Good man.
Greed is the more bludgeoning, kind of straight ahead, 1 3/4 minute kind of hardcore song. Sieve Fisted Find's got a bit more of the kind of the lilt-in kind of odd bass line.
Right, sure.
Kind of the slightly kind of melodic but out of tune guitar. Yeah, love all that shit, man.
Okay.
Love
that's good. It's going on the list. Done. It's in.
Done it.
Very nice. Right, well, number 6, then, I've gone for James Goldmother.
Oh, okay.
A couple of reasons. A, it's another one that I did know at the time, and I fell in love with it.
Yeah.
And it was a gateway to a lot of other bands and stuff for me. It was one of the first quote-unquote indie band albums that I knew properly all the way through, and I loved what they did. And also on this one, that's A, but B, it also has just some tunes that have stood up to me 30 years on. I think that there's some bits on this that are still, they get me, that really fucking hooked me in. So that's why I've gone for it. I loved it. I remember it was the cliche of you see James t-shirts all the time whenever you're at indie clubs. It was one of those ones. I probably saw those shirts before I heard the band, but then a mate of mine did me a compilation album which had I think it was How Was It For You on there from this album, and it stood out to me on that mixtape. I was like, fuck, this is wicked. This is a great tune. It's a lot more poppy. It's very that late 80s really kind of indie piano-y stuff, very upbeat, that sort of shit, but still good tune. But then whenever I listened to the album, there were other ones on there that were much bit more up my street, as it turned out. There were some that were more slower, more kind of inward looking, more serious, but such a good tune to them. And so I was a big fan. And I think Tim Booth has a fucking lovely voice. I think he's a great singer. Still, to this day, one of the best live bands I've seen.
Okay, fair enough.
I saw them do... Well, it run one of the greatest hits tours in the early 2000s, and they were astonishingly good.
Well, the funny thing is, with James, I, for many years, thought James were a band that I didn't like. One of those kind of weird little hangovers of tribalism, I would imagine.
And also presumably because Sit Down was everywhere. For such a long time.
I didn't really like that at
the
time.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until, I think, again, when we were working in HMV, I think the Greatest Hits came out. Yeah. And the Greatest Hits was on a lot. And it was just one of those things, like, I know this. Oh, I know this. I know. And you're like, oh, I know all of these songs. Oh, this is a good band.
If you look at that career,
I mean, I don't own any James records now. I don't put James records on, but absolutely know they're a really, really solid band. Yeah. And if I gave them more time, I know I would find plenty to enjoy in there.
Well, sure. Well, the song I'm going to put on this playlist is one called Lose Control.
Where is the love? Every
Okay.
And it is one of the ones where I said it's kind of more downbeat, it's more melancholy, that sort of thing. But it's a great big chorus and stuff as well. I think you'll like that. I think it'll be up your street.
Was it later covered by Shakademus and Pliers?
Let's hope so, because I'll be up for hearing that.
Wicked.
Okay. Lose control.
Tease
me. Actually, I'm just the chorus could well, because it's the chorus is shake my body, release my soul, punish my senses, lose control. And I can hear Shakademus and Pliers all over that.
I can hear them all over that as well.
Yeah, that's a reggaeton hit.
Right, well let's cover it.
Well, you're gonna do the voice?
No.
Yeah.
The
No. Cool.
Right.
Okay, well that's my number 6. That's where I was at. What about you?
My number 6 is Frizzle Fry by Primus.
Okay. Right.
Now Primus are a super gateway drug for me. A band, again, getting into 1992, 1993 when I first heard Primus. I heard Tommy the Cat in a club. My friend Stu, who lives in the Czech Republic now, was an enormous Primus fan, and he lent me Suck on This, which is their live record.
Okay, yeah.
And then this record, no one I knew had it, so I had to do that thing you used to do when you should go into HMV and order it from America.
Oh, fuck it out.
So I think my copy
Takes
of
weeks to come in.
Yeah, I mean, I think I probably paid about 20 quid for my copy of it,
Yeah,
or something
well
along those lines, probably more than that. But yeah, it wasn't easily available in the UK at that time.
Right, I mean, I wonder, did it even get a UK release in 1990?
I'm not sure. It's Caroline Records. I'm not sure whether they released it or not.
Right, okay.
I remember it being, because when there was a tape, because I was buying most things on tape at this point.
Right, sure.
But I remember you'd go into the tape section and you'd see Suck on This, you'd see Caesar Cheese, see Pork Soda when it came out, but you would not see this record.
Right, this was the mystery one.
But yeah, so this, I think partially because I was the only one that had it, and just because it's such a good, weird record, this became one of my favourite. I mean, I played the arse off of this record.
Yeah.
I love everything about it. The way the way it starts off the same way as Suck on This does, with kind of the drum beat, then it does this kind of weird rewind and it goes into To Defy the Laws of Tradition.
Okay.
Absolutely. I mean, Les Claypool, weird bass,
Strange man, I'd imagine.
I mean, just a weird dude, and all this. These are just odd songs about odd subjects. I was listening to, Guns N' Roses, and I was listening to and I hadn't listened to anything that was quite as weird and surreal. This is
some bizarre shit.
Yeah. This is like kind of Monty Python,
right?
Monty Python on record,
but with more slap bass.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of slap bass, and Larry Lalonde kind of with his big kind of. Look, 3-piece band. You've got Les Claypool on bass. You've got Tim Alexander playing drums.
Yeah,
who's an absolute monster.
He's a demon.
Absolute monster. And then Larry Lalonde playing guitar. Odd subject matter, like kind of slightly political message in there as well.
Okay.
Yeah, like Too Many Puppies is an anti-war song.
I see.
It's got that kind of California Bay Area oddness that I'd seen some of from Faith No More and kind of Chili Peppers, and this was taking it to a whole other level of musicality. It's kind of obviously got massive kind of prog influence in it,
jazz in there,
prog and jazz, and it's all this stuff thrown on, and it was just so deliberately obtuse, but while still having these massive hooks and songs in it, that I was just like, this is what I like. This is proper outsider music. This is I'm better than you because I can understand this.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I know. It is a badge. You wear it as a badge.
Yeah, and it's like you can't just listen to this once and like it. This is fucking proper music, and it's got a sense of humour, and it's got nuance, and it's got something to say, and you can't just play this. You have to, you learn to be the good as you can as your instrument to be able to put this together, and you go out of your way to make it annoying for most people. Fucking there's something about that appeals to the fucking bell end in me.
Okay, yeah,
the deliberately obtuse bastard, right?
Yeah,
that I love that.
Well, I can see that in some of your choices where it's like, oh, here's a great song. How can we make it a little bit more annoying?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you do like bands who are doing. Maybe Faith No More is a prime example of that. Yeah.
I mean, listen to how I make this podcast annoying whenever I possibly can. Right?
Okay, Frizzle Fry though. Okay, so again, what song are you going to put onto your playlist?
Oh, this was a hard one. There's so many I wanted on here. I mean, like John the Fisherman would have been the obvious choice. Mr. Know-It-All could have been it. But I'm going with Harold of the Rocks.
It was a I had sex in my breath. I was looking for something to see. With a bar, black leather, and my best fishing hat. Well, it was just when the old and me. Called that swamp upon telephone, said we was coming on down to pick him up. Lady said, hey, Snappy, me and Green, come along, but only if we can bring a friend. His name is Harold.
A song about him going on a fishing trip. Some of his mates bringing this weird dude called Harold along. Right?
Done.
Yeah, and that's the song.
No, well, yeah, that sounds like a Primer song.
Harold's just a fucking. Well, I mean, it's got weirdos.
Yeah.
It's got funk.
Yeah.
And it's got fishing. That is your Primus playbook.
Absolutely, yeah.
So yeah.
Cool. Okay.
I love that song. Right. So that's.
Well, that's us. We've done 10 to 6.
10 to 6.
We're halfway through our top 10.
Wow.
Right, well, before we sign off on this podcast,
Yeah.
one thing we discussed having a look at was we were going to see if we could decide what the best number one single from 1990 is.
Now this is a tough.
This is tough. Maybe let's have a look actually. How many were there? Right, there were 18 number one singles throughout the year.
Yeah.
Which, when you think about it, is not a lot.
Okay.
You know, that's not a huge amount to choose from.
It's
and
not.
some of them are obvious no's.
Yeah, I mean, okay, before we start with the best,
Yep.
I've just got a feeling that if we count to 3, we're unanimously going to be able to say what the worst single
The
is.
worst
right?
one, okay.
Without
Yeah, I
any
know what I think.
preparation at all.
No.
Alright, okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay, on band name,
Uh-huh.
and then single
And then,
name.
okay.
Right?
After
3 and then
Yep.
go, yeah?
Yep.
1, 2, 3.
Bomb Ballerina, Itsy Bitsy Teeny Weeny.
High five.
Shadow.
Oh my God.
Shadow without. That is
Dog
the
shit.
worst one. My God.
Possibly of the 90s.
And there are a couple of other shit ones in here. You know, that wasn't the only one we could have had.
Yeah.
You know, Cliff Richard released Saviour's Day. That was a number one.
Yeah.
That's fucking dreadful. Kylie Minogue's Tears on My Pillow is not a great song.
It's not
Well,
that bad.
Oh my God, it's not Itsy Bitsy Teeny Weeny, but it's not a great song.
It's not the first number one single of the year. Do They Know It's Christmas by Band Aid 2?
Yeah. Now that I mean, I understand money making, whatever, but that was dreadful.
Oh, absolutely awful.
Yeah.
Absolutely awful.
And you know, one of your most hated bands that we've come across so far, The Beautiful South, and at the time was number one, but it's still not as bad as Timmy Bastard Mallet.
No, absolutely not. It's fucking absolute dog shit.
Okay, well, we're in entire agreement on the worst number one single of the year.
Yeah.
Good. In terms of the best one,
Okay.
what are you going to say? Because I'm torn. I'm like, do I go for the one that I loved most at the time and I still think is decent, or do I go for the one that I probably didn't like at the time but would be easily the first one I'd put on out of this list today?
Oh, see, I've got that left, right, and centre.
Yeah.
Okay. There are songs on here that are. There's a couple that I could pick that are objectively bad songs.
Okay.
I know that they kind of are, right, but I love them.
Give me some of them. What are they?
See, I'm not sure I'm not going to go with them yet.
Oh, I see. You're
So
right.
look, as we talk about this, I've got the list open in front of me, and I'm still changing my mind.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Are you locked?
I've decided which way I'm going to go. I was between
Okay.
two, and I've decided which way I'm going to go.
Okay. So what are your criteria for your choices then?
I was one of them I loved at the time
Yeah.
and was a game changer for me at the time,
Yeah.
and I still think is a very good song.
Yeah.
One of them is I wasn't interested at the time at all, but now I fucking love it, and it would be the one I put on the first out of these ones.
Okay. And what's it going to be?
I would love to do the second one, but it's going to be the former. It's going to be what I loved at the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
and it is Beats International. That'd be good to me.
Oh, it's a big tune. That's on my short list.
Yeah.
It's a big tune. I
is.
love it.
It is. I remember when it came out, it blew me away. It absolutely fucking stumped me. I was like, how can it be this good? This is such a great tune. And even today, yeah, I love it. It's not what I would put on if someone said to me, play me a song from 1990 out of this list. That wouldn't be the one.
Alright, well look, I'm gonna... So this is where I'm at, okay?
Yep.
There is a song on here that I think is unimpeachable pop classic.
Yep.
Okay? I've talked about the artist a lot.
Yep.
And looking at this list, to me, is easily the best song on here.
Okay.
But I'm not picking it.
It's not. I know exactly what one you're talking about.
And what am I talking about?
You're talking about Sinead O'Connor's Nothing Compares to You.
I'm not. I'm talking about Vogue's by Madonna. But I also...
Oh, right, okay.
Nothing Compares to You is an incredibly beautiful song.
Mm-hmm.
Like, on a different day, I might pick it. But today, I've got to go with my heart. And I've got to go with the song that gave me the most pleasure at the time and has given me the most pleasure in the years since. And I'm going with Ice Ice Baby by Vanilla Ice. I've got to go with it, man. I've got to go with it. Like,
fucking okay. Wow.
Look, I know everything that's wrong with this song.
Of course.
I know everything that's wrong with this song, but I still cannot stop myself remembering being this age and just learning every word to it.
Oh, definitely.
Which I still know.
Yeah.
Of course I do.
Of course you do.
You know, we've discussed the fact there's a Zumba version of this song.
Yes, we have.
Look, I feel like Vanilla needs to get something out of this.
Okay, he's taking a lot of slating over this amount of podcasts we've done. You're going to redeem him at the end, are you?
I can't lie. This is a bad song, but if it comes on the radio, I'm going to turn it up.
Oh, mate, it's one of these ones that when you talk about guilty pleasures, you know, if I went to that sort of a night, I would be on the dance floor of that shit. Of course I would. But it wouldn't be my choice.
Let me guess what your other song was.
Go.
Would you have gone Show Me Heaven?
Yeah, I would.
That was your other choice. Yeah,
straight away. Maria McKee, Show Me Heaven.
See, that's the thing for me. There are a lot of... I mean, let's go through the actual...
Okay.
Hanging Tough is a fucking great pop song.
It's a great pop song, but it didn't mean anything to me at the time.
It meant a lot to me at the time.
Okay, I see you were a fan.
I loved it.
Yeah,
I loved that song at the time. Nothing Compares to You is immaculate.
Yeah, and
it's on our other playlist, though.
Well, indeed, and we talked about it in the Sinead O'Connor podcast that we did, how big a tune and how much it meant to you. It's one of those ones that I know has resonance for you.
Snap the Power.
Snap the Power is a brilliant song.
Like the crack of a whip, I snap attack front to back in this thing called rap.
That's good, and that is instantly. That's an instantly recognisable riff as well.
Oh my god.
Madonna Vogue, like you say, Adamski's Killer.
It's so good.
Yeah.
World in Motion. Fucking go on, Barnsey. Partners in Crime, Turtle Power.
Which we've also found out you know all the words to, off the top of your head.
Yeah, Sacrifice, Healing Hands. Well, Healing Hands we liked.
Yeah.
Let's move on past Itsy Bitsy. Itsy Bitsy. What was happening in the world?
I have a feeling as well, I'm just remembering back to the podcast that we mentioned it in, I have a feeling that in the top 10 at the same time was that Thunderbirds Are Go song as well.
Oh, fuck off.
It was a particularly bad week.
Not the one featuring MC Parker.
Yeah, FAB featuring MC Parker.
Oh my god, that's bad. Anyway, and then we go for the rest of the year. A Little Time,
yeah.
Unchained Melody, Forever, Ice Ice Baby, and then Cliff Richard smegging it up at the end with Saviour's Day.
As he is wont to do, yeah.
Exactly. Wicked. Alright, so that brings us to the end of episode 1 of this 2-part special.
Excellent. No, that was good. We covered a lot of good albums there.
Alright,
but it does mean that there's a lot of good shit still to come.
Yeah, and not too much of a crossover. We had one crossover, didn't we?
No, 2. Did we? Cowboys and Depeche Mode.
Oh, yeah. So we didn't talk about Depeche Mode.
Yeah, because it's coming later.
Okay, fantastic. Alright, well guys, I hope you've enjoyed this bonus episode. See you next week for part 2.
Bye!
Pop, Collaborate and Listen is produced, in the loosest of terms, and edited, if you can call it that, by us two amateurs, which is why it sounds like it does. If you do want to get in contact with us, and we would love you to, you can get us on pclmusicpodcast@gmail.com. We are on Twitter @PCLPodcast, Instagram @PCLPodcast, Facebook.com/PCLPodcast, and you can find all of this info as well as links to our Spotify playlists and that sort of thing on our website, which is PCLPodcast.com.